Welcome to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion, theater, and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest trends in the sewing community. I'm Meg Healy.
I'm Amanda Carestio.
And I'm Kate Zaynard.
Today on the podcast, we're talking all things sewing communities, both physical and online, as well as how you can get involved. We'll each share a little something in our SewJo segment, and then we'll ask you to share something too. But before we get started, how are we all doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I just went out to lunch with my mom. I think when I told her I was recording, I think she was somewhat disappointed you weren't here in the studio, Meg, because I think she wanted to take you along with us.
Did she listen? Oh, yeah. Does she listen?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, that's nice. I don't think my mom has ever listened to an episode. But I'll give her. She doesn't know what really a podcast even is. So
well,
maybe I'll have to.
My mom kind of learned so that she could listen to us. So hi, mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Kate's mom. Maybe next time.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to let her know when you're in town. Well, I'll go out. She'll be so happy.
I know. I miss traveling and being in Colorado. I haven't been there. I guess when was I last there? It's been a while.
May? April?
Yeah.
It was May.
It was cold.
It was May.
Yes. It was cold because I remember we were all shivering in the studio. Well, now there's just, I don't know if it's on right now for you guys, but here in Toronto, there's it's been a hot summer. It definitely has.
It took us a while to get there, but the heat wave is hitting for sure.
For sure. It's kind of relentless at this point in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My poor friend went to the zoo with her kids yesterday and almost died.
Oh, gosh. I know. It's just painful to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But do you know when you could go outside is to go to a sewing meetup?
You're right.
Oh, my gosh. That was such a good transition.
Oh, did you like that?
I loved that. Such a smooth segue.
Bonus points, Meg.
So when you just need to get out there, sometimes physically being around and creating with others in your community can be an amazing thing, especially when sewing can kind of be an isolating activity. I know for me, it's a little isolating. Sometimes it's just you and your sewing machine. But then that's kind of the beauty of it too. But
yeah, it can be very solitary, but it's nice to change that up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, that's why I like sewing. I mean, that's my quiet time and time to myself. But
when your husband says, Amanda, you need to go sew.
Exactly. To your sewing room.
Get thee to your sewing room. Bye.
Yeah, so have either of you ever been to a physical community meetup within your communities?
Not within my own personal community. I have traveled a couple times to the American Sewing Guild Conference, which is sort of like that. I've taken several classes with some really great people there. So that's sort of my major sewing as a group experience, other than obviously working in costume shop where you're sewing with all of your other costume shop employees. Yes. So, that's my answer.
That's pretty similar to my experience. I've done a lot of industry shows like quilt markets and things. Occasionally taking classes there as well, which I loved. I don't get out as much as I would want to, but there are a lot of good options in the Denver area. There are some, local stores who host a variety of crafting meetup nights and things like that. So there are opportunities. And whenever I do those kinds of things, I love it. And it's so nice to be in a room with people who speak your same language. It just doesn't happen as much as I'd like it to.
And have you ever been to a workshop? Would you consider that sort of a meetup? I guess a class or anything?
I think probably I would call the classes that I've taken more of a workshop than a meetup. I feel like a meetup's a little bit more like you're all working on your own thing, whereas in the class you're all kind of working on the same thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, I probably actually have been more to anything like that than anything where I just showed up with my own project and started working on it.
Yeah, the ones that I've been to are more like there's a teacher who's kind of walking you through a process, but everybody's doing it. So,
and I think that's a good way to start too. If you're kind of dabbling and wanting to get out there, a workshop or a class is a really great start too, because then you have a task to focus on and you can meet new people through that, and then maybe it becomes more, you meet friends, and then it becomes more of a social one, where you're just getting together and either just wearing what you've made or but I think there can be some really good benefits to Meetups. So let's talk about what are these benefits. And I do know that sometimes these type of community meetups and such like that are more in bigger cities. I would find that, I know in the Toronto area there's a lot, and like you said, Denver, and so maybe we'll talk about this more, but they in smaller communities maybe, but still you can definitely find communities within that. I think there was the other Love to Sew podcast, our fellow sewing podcasters, they have a really good episode on this too. In their notes, they talk about how to actually find meetups and stuff like that. So just wanted to give them a mention that they have a really good formula for looking at that. And always just wanted to mention, always do use caution when meeting up with strangers, though.
I think the best thing about it is having other resources there. If you're not sure about a step or a technique, if you're in a class, you can talk to the teacher. But if you don't want to interrupt the teacher, or you're in just more of a workshop situation or a meetup situation, there are usually other sewists there, and you can look around and say, okay, that person looks like she knows what she's doing. I'm going to go ask her about how to do this tricky thing, or she looks like she knows how to handle an invisible zipper or whatever. And I think that's really a huge benefit, is that you can share your different skills and your different techniques, and you can trade them around and find out who has the skills that you need, and then you can help other people with things that might be harder for them. And so, I like that benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I like just being around people in that setting for just inspiration's sake. I mean, it's so fun to hear in person what people are excited about, what they're working on. You can share a little bit of what you're working on, and just, sharing that enthusiasm together. So if you're finding yourself in kind of an inspiration rut, maybe a meetup is just the thing you need.
For sure. And of course, there are certain jokes and references that only another sewist could ever possibly understand. I mean,
totally.
Like all our sewing puns?
Yes, like all our sewing puns, or the benefits of a bobbin boy. You guys know what a bobbin boy is,
I don't know what a bobbin boy is.
No, I actually don't know what that is.
Oh, I hope somebody else out there knows what a bobbin boy is. But the bobbin boy is the gentleman, the handsome gentleman whose entire job is to stand behind you with a full bobbin and hand it to you when you run out of bobbin thread. And then he goes and he winds a new one for you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is that like an actual thing?
No, it's not an actual thing. It's just something that you long for.
Yes, we wish it were.
I am so gullible. I'm like, what? Is this like a theater thing?
Actually, do that? No, it is definitely a theater thing, but mostly it's us just saying we wish we had one.
I totally thought that in theater sewing there were actually bobbin boys. I was like, wow, that's so cool.
No, there are no such things as bobbin boys. But wouldn't it be great if you just had a nice boy, heck, a nice girl, just some nice person stand behind you and hand you a fresh bobbin whenever you needed one, so you never had to wind a bobbin for yourself again?
Maybe I can train my 4-year-old.
I think you should.
Yes, that's a great idea.
I'd probably be into it.
I should train my cat.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
But
it's not going to work.
I love the idea of meetups. I do find that it's hard for me to make myself go to things like that. Because I'm definitely, I love people. I love talking about sewing, obviously.
Yeah.
But I am definitely on the introvert side of the spectrum.
Yeah. That's the hard part of just kind of getting out there. I know I recently went to it was a while back, actually. It was Christiane of Victory Patterns hosted this kind of with a collaboration with Nurture Eats, kind of just like a dinner. And so it was just, we didn't do any crafting or anything. It was just an opportunity for kind of creatives in the Toronto community just to get together and have this dinner. And she talked about how she started Victory Patterns and her background. And it was just really nice. And I'd known her from the internet. I followed her. I love all her patterns. And I saw she posted that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go.
Good for you.
And I sat next to her, and we actually ended up becoming friends, and we've met several times since. We've gone out to coffee, and she's getting married this year as well. So we were talking about wedding, and so you just never know. And I was really nervous to just go, but you just sometimes just got to make yourself go. I just bought the ticket. I was like, well, I don't want to waste that money, so I just got to go.
Nice.
And usually even the day of, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. What do I wear? And I just put on kind of something that I recently made, and it was really lovely. And now, I had the opportunity to go to another Toronto socialist put it on. It was a fancy social, and I have some sound clips right now that will play from the evening.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm here at the Fancy Social with Jacqueline, also known as Lady_JGO, and we had the pleasure together to tour the Canadian Opera Company's costume making. How did you like that, Jacqueline?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I loved seeing behind the scenes, the costumes, just the environment, being surrounded by creativity. It was fantastic tour.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. I know our fellow podcast host Kate, you would have loved this tour for sure. I finally felt like I got a glimpse into her world for sure. What was your favorite part about the tour? What did you see or what did you hear that you were surprised about the behind the scenes opera costuming thing?
I was interested to know that they reuse some of the costumes.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Which makes sense. You don't want to make everything from scratch. And also just the way that the whole process works, from the director to the designer to the team that executes. So I found that really interesting.
Yeah, I love how they just have this inventory that they can just memorize and pull from. They don't always have to make everything.
Label makers are very important.
Yes, you heard that. Yes, yeah, label makers are very, very important. Yes, it was a really fun tour, and that was a great start to our day. And now we're currently at the event at night, and it's been really fun mingling with everybody. We played a fun bingo. I guess bingo. It was a sewing bingo. Yep. Yes. And how far did you get in your sewing?
Not far at all.
Neither did I. So basically, we had a bingo, and you had to find fellow sewists that did certain sewing things, like step on pins, and
I've done that.
Yeah, you've done that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so have I, and just lots of other things. But yeah, it's been a really great night. And if you are in a city where it has social sewing events, get out there. Even if you're by yourself, go, and you never know what's going to happen.
Bingo.
Yes. Well, thanks so much, Jacqueline. It was lovely to meet you. And what are you wearing? Tell me what you're wearing.
Vogue 9100.
Lovely.
And I got the fabric from Style Maker Fabrics in Oregon.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like such a fun time.
Yeah. It's always nice to have an opportunity to wear your things that you've made there a little fancier. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons I never sew anything that's particularly fancy is because I have nowhere to wear it.
I know, exactly. Yeah, sometimes that's just the difficulty of sewing. You have all these garments and you just don't have anywhere to wear them. So,
are you going to put a nice picture up of what you wore?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'll definitely post a picture of what I wore. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, do you guys have any plans in the future to go to any, or of any meetups in your area?
The problem that I run into in my area is that one, a lot of the meetups seem to be oriented towards people who don't have day jobs. And so they're on weekdays in the middle of the day. And so it's hard for me to get to stuff like that because I'm, here at work. And of course, the other issue is that many of the places that are likely to do that happen to be a relatively long drive from my house. I mean, Denver's a pretty big city, and I think, getting to like Colorado Fabrics that does stuff like that, that's like an hour drive for me, and Fancy Tiger's not much shorter in the end. And the ones I can think of that are close to my house are mostly just quilting oriented, and it's not a huge interest of mine. So I tend to not avoid, but I end up not really going to meetups because of that reason. So I don't have any plans right now, but I should keep my eye open, try to find some new places I can go.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I definitely – it's been a while since I've taken a class or a workshop, so I think that is something that's on my list for the fall. I actually kind of want to take a knitting class.
Oh,
yeah, crossing the streams
traitor.
there. I know.
I'm just joking.
I know.
I'm just joking.
But just to, I don't know. That's one of the things I love about this industry and this field is the keep learning aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I have not been putting enough energy into it. So I think I think that's a good goal for me to push myself and and meet new people through that.
Yeah. Last year I did a cross stitch class.
Nice.
And I found that I really enjoyed it. It's kind of really relaxing.
It's very zen. I've been cross stitching since I was about, I don't know, I think I was about 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's the basis of all of my hand-eye coordination.
Yeah. For me who hates hand stitching so much, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's funny.
I know, Isn't that funny? So I would love to. I haven't done it yet, but I've been meaning to actually incorporate what I've learned into a garment that for now I just have like random shapes on square cross stitch things. I'd actually love to incorporate like a neckline or even like a sleeve band or something. So maybe that'll be kind of after I'm done sewing for the wedding.
Yeah, you can start worrying about that.
Yeah, then maybe I'll work on incorporating something like that. Yeah, into mine. But another I wanted to touch on, even if you were local, you don't have a local meetup, something like a destination trip or something it can be. I know they can be expensive, but I know when we went to Italy on our craft tour, there was people from all over the world. There was people from all over the world. There were people from New Zealand and Australia and for everywhere around North America as well. And that's a really good thing to do as well, because it's not, then you do create kind of that in-person connection that you keep in touch with later on. And if you want to go on one, there is one coming up, isn't there, Amanda?
There is. I believe the registration has closed for it.
No.
But I'm really excited about it. This one it'll be early October to London. And but I would say keep a lookout because it's quite possible
I'm sure
we'll do one next year.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. I don't know quite how the group dynamic is going to work. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're definitely we're going to a lot of cool fabric oriented spots.
Yes, it's so jealous.
Yeah.
Can I call dibs on the next one?
We'll see.
Fine.
Meg's like, whatever.
I know,
Amanda's
poor
like,
Kate.
I don't have the authority to say that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
crafters.
So just get yourself out there. Just find one in your local community. Or if there's not one, you can start one. You don't need to have it there's lots of places that you could rent, like a public space. Even just start with, if you live in a small community, start with like a coffee shop. Just go to coffee shop, put up a sign saying, if you're interested and if you like sewing, if you like creating, come here at this time. And you just never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I would definitely think about libraries too, because I feel like they're usually pretty open to those kinds of things. And if you happen to have that local craft shop, I feel like
yes, for sure,
that's a good place.
Definitely
as well.
get in touch with your local fabric store, craft shop.
Or
that's
sewing
also
machine
great
dealer,
place to
because
start.
sometimes
plan.
they're willing
Yes,
to
totally.
do stuff like that, so you can try out the machines, and there's a benefit for them in case somebody who comes to the meetup is interested in buying one of the machines, and then they have all those machines out that people can play with.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's a great
for
idea.
sure.
All right. love, love, love the idea of sewing meetups and meeting up in person in general, but sometimes it's not an option. If you can't meet up in person either because of your schedule or your location, you have lots of options for online sewing togetherness. And we're going to talk about a few of those today, talk about pros and cons, and talk about how if you're not connected online, you can kind of get started with that. So I just wanted to start with you guys. How active are you online in terms of sewing specifically?
I am not very active online. I'm very not interactive online. I try to be. I really do, but I don't. I don't try very hard. My actual Instagram bio says not very good at Instagram, and that is very, very true. I always think about liking things but don't actually do it, and I just kind of scroll through every once in a while, and yeah, I'm bad at Instagram. Okay. Meg?
Well, I think I'm so. I'm not overly active. I'm always on it, and I love looking and liking, but in terms of posting, I would ideally like to post once a day on what I'm working on and things that I'm making, but it's more realistically now like 2 or 3 times a week, and that's fine.
You're much more active on Bird of Style, correct?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm always posting and sharing on that account for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always on it because I get so much inspiration and just all like the loveliness from Instagram. It's just I try not to. I would like to share more. It's just sometimes it's hard. I kind of struggle with, is this the perfect picture, which is so annoying. Right. I wish I could just snap it and share, but the lighting has to be right. I wish I could just not care as much.
I know. I feel your pain. I'm definitely I'm active on Instagram, but I go through some of those same struggles. And I don't really follow the rules. Like I'll post back to back. I'll take a week off from posting, and I really. I try not to play the game. I try to keep it really for me, for my kind of note keeping, for sharing information with other people, and also for supporting other people. I just try to keep it on that level instead of like the popularity contest level, which we'll get into a little bit more later on in the segment here. And I was guessing you guys were probably going to say Instagram first and foremost, but there are some more. There are other options, and I just wanted to touch on those pretty quickly. I'm not active on Pattern Review, but that is a really big kind of forum-based site and good, information sharing site specific to pattern reviews that has been around for a really long time, which is awesome. Bird of Style, great community. I have not done too much on Textilia, but that's another good one with a lot of it seems to be growing. The Fold Line is based in the UK, and they have a really great Facebook and Instagram presence, and just they share a lot of community makes and blog posts. I am a member of a couple of Facebook groups that are kind of general wardrobe sewing. And I can list a few of those in the show notes page. But I think there's also a really big and active Facebook kind of community around indie pattern designers. I know a lot of indie pattern designers have their own dedicated Facebook groups. I'm a member of the Hey June Handmade group. And those folks are so awesome and so active and so supportive, and people post pictures and help you diagnose fit issues and solutions and things like that. So there is quite a bit happening on Facebook, but I do think that, really the most active spot where the most people are is probably Instagram.
It's such a visual medium.
Nowadays.
Exactly.
Oh, totally.
So let's talk about a couple of the things that we like or don't like on Instagram. I mean, I think that it's a great place for getting inspiration. If you haven't done like any of the challenges, either the monthly challenges, the photo challenges, the challenges where you're actually making something, you should try that. Have either of you done that?
I haven't. I saw one that was almost over by the time I saw it. I'm bad at Instagram, you guys. That I might have actually participated in, but like I said, it was almost over. I was like, maybe I'll just do it on my own. And I was like, and so no.
How about you, Meg?
Mm-hmm. Well, I talked about the one last week that I'm still trying to find a pattern in a perfect pose, but it's the hashtag pose like the pattern model. So still working on that. It's in the queue, guys.
I love it. Yeah,
but I like fun ones. I like fun ones.
I like the silly ones, and I mean, of course, there's Me Made May, which has a lot of participants.
I do think I dressed like a crayon once, but I don't think I posted it.
You should probably post it.
I don't think I took a picture of it. I am so bad at Instagram.
You're really bad at Instagram.
You got to get on it.
Take a picture.
I think. I mean, I think
Kate's still laughing.
She's still going. Well,
so bad.
We'll get you up to speed.
Okay.
There's also, there's a lot of hashtags too that can kind of help you drill down into the community and kind of find your people, like whether it's millennial sewing or any kind of these subgroups like sewists who like dogs and sewists who like cats. And, I think that hashtags are a really great way to kind of drill down because I think when you get started with Instagram, it can be a little bit intimidating.
And it's also a good way to find if you were interested in a physical community. If you type in hashtag whatever city you live in, then sews. Sometimes you can, meet and find out about local meetups as well.
Right. There's a pretty active Denver Sews hashtag. That we could probably start using. So I think if you're new to Instagram, start with hashtags because that's a really great way to find people
or pictures in Kate's.
Yes, take pictures
for the record
on your phone.
My favorite hashtag is hashtag catternweight because it's pictures of cats laying on people's fabric.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
I love it.
There's
so
many
much.
good ones.
And that if I'm going to post, like 90% of the time, it's just a catternweight picture. Here's Maggie on my fabric.
I love it. So use hashtags to find people. You can also use hashtags to get found so people can find you if you start using them. It's also great for pattern research. So every pattern out there has a hashtag. You click on it and you can see like all the different ways people have hacked it, all the different fabrics. You can see patterns on a large variety of different bodies. You can read people's reviews. I think it's a good tool.
Yeah. And that reminds me, I started on the Berta Instagram because there are so many patterns. I started a formula and I added it to the highlights in the Berta Instagram for tagging Berta patterns because, there's so many and they don't have conventional names. And so it's the pattern number, the 3-digit number. So hashtag that 3-digit number, Berta, and then the issue without any what's
Slashes.
that thing called? Slash. Oh, jeez. It's been a day. So and then it's just because there's so many different ways of tagging it. And I wanted to just create a streamlined way so everyone can see.
Cool. Good idea. Good idea.
Good. Yeah.
Well, and we'll note that in the show notes how we put that together or how Meg put that together.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those are ways to get started. And yes, Instagram is a lovely place. I find that it's really inspiring and it's super supportive, but there are some cons.
Yeah. Totally.
A few of mine are that there's a real heavy focus on finished product. And I think that that's something that the Instagram sewing community realizes about itself and is trying to change. So, just posting those process shots, posting your planning shots, not having it be, a race to the finish who can make the most new things.
And I'll tell you that is one of the things that kind of depresses me sometimes when I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, this person posts a new thing every day. This makes me. Where do you find the time?
I know.
I've been working on the same project for a month and a half.
I know. And it doesn't have to be like that. And I think that, recognizing that there are other kinds of ways to join the conversation on Instagram without posting a new thing every day, because I definitely follow people who seem to do that. I do think that it can kind of give you a false sense of knowing someone, because I've had Instagram friends that I've met in person, and you just kind of feel like a stalker because you know a lot about this portion of their life, but maybe not, their kids' names or their, whatever the other things are. Instagram is not a place where people share their whole lives. They share the parts that they want you to see. So I think as long as you keep that perspective in mind.
Well, I think that's true of basically the entire internet.
Yes, totally.
My favorite author has a very distinct online persona, and then when I see him like go to a reading or something and I see him actually reading, he seems so different, and it always just shocks me. And so I think that's important to remember for Instagram and forever. You're seeing a curated version of a person's life and what they want you to see.
And particularly on Instagram, because it is, a visual curation. So, you can be very selective in how you take a photograph of your room without showing all the toys in the corner.
Oh,
you know? Like we've all got those
a studio
tricks.
shot. It's like that one corner you just pile all.
Exactly.
Yes.
My other downside for Instagram is that people's pets die, and I cry every time. And it's really heartbreaking, and there's no way around it. And I want people to post about their pets and share when their pets pass, but I'm a softie when it comes to animals.
Yeah, the other aspect of that is when people share animals that need to be rescued, and you're
gosh.
You're in Florida, I can't rescue that cat. Or you're like, you're in my city, but I can't have any more cats.
I know.
And then you feel so guilty. Oh, I hate that.
It's the downside. And I think in terms of not taking in more animals, not making more fabric purchases or pattern purchases when the new things come around. And it seems like everybody's jumping on the wagon. So I think those warnings aside, Meg, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much covers it.
I think those warnings aside, Instagram is a pretty lovely place.
I think again the positive outweighs the negative.
Definitely.
I think in terms of like sewing communities on there.
Also, for people like me who are kind of older but don't particularly want to get involved with Snapchat at all, it's a way to keep in touch to some level with your younger relatives who aren't on Facebook.
I have a separate account. I have two Instagram accounts. One is for my sewing and one is for the bazillion pictures of my kids that I put up for my family who's back on the East Coast.
Yeah, I should probably do that, but I don't.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
There are no rules. You do your own thing. Rules. You use it for how you want to use it and connect with lovely people if you want to. Yeah,
I feel like my Instagram, I'm slowly posting more of the bunnies, which I hope is okay.
Oh, we love the bunnies. I love the bunnies.
If you hashtag bunny and bury, I just kind of documented on. I'm like real like bunny mommy over here. Just lately, they're in shedding season. Kind of the whole summer is shedding. And so I'm just doing a lot more bunny mummy stuff, like combing them and changing their bins and vacuuming. And Bunny had some issues with like his skin. And so I've been taking him to the vet, and I'm just like full on bunny mummy.
You go. Well,
I love it.
I do think Instagram's a good way, another way to put yourself out there. It's not, to the level of a in-person sewing meetup, but it is a way to put yourself out there, find some like-minded individuals.
And make some connections.
Which I think is not a substitute for in-person connection, but can be quite lovely.
Yes, and in some ways, sometimes online friends, there we go, can be just as true and just as valuable as real life friends. Not even real life friends; they are real life friends, but friends that you know in person and that you see in your own life every day. There are certainly people,
and I just want to shout out to the online community within. Online sewing courses as well. I know in the sew-alongs and more specifically the Burda Style certification course, everyone is posting what steps they are, and everyone is so encouraging.
I love that.
Never see a negative comment. Everyone's like encouraging each other, and someone's being stuck, and they help each other, and it's a really lovely place. And it's a lot of work when the course is in it, but I absolutely love it, and the community within that is just really. And then on Instagram, they're sharing their certificates, and I think people are swapping their Instagram handles within the course so they can stay in touch. And these and they're really from all over the world as well. If you look at the online directory, I mean, there are certified teachers all over the world, and it's really awesome.
That's another pro for Instagram is that I have friends. I mean, I have Instagram friends. I'm going to say they're friends all over the world. And I'm like, this person from New Zealand is my friend, and they just did this in their life. And, it does, maybe widen your horizons a little bit.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so.
Mm-hmm. And even having Mimi G on the pod, like I was like, my sewing friend in LA.
Exactly.
Like we just, you just know so much about them. And even when we had her on the podcast, like the conversation just went so well. Like it's just like we're just catching up. And and cross our fingers we're later on in the season having like after my wedding and she had her wedding, do a wedding recap. Exactly. So let's all cross our fingers and see if we can make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
For sure. Yeah. The power of Instagram can make it happen.
All right. Let's move on to our SewJo segment. So for anyone who doesn't know, SewJo is what's giving us our sewing mojo. What's giving us inspiration and making us feel excited about sewing right now. So, Meg, why don't you start us off?
Oh, guys, don't stop me. But I'm thinking about honeymoon outfits, guys.
We're not going to stop you.
We're not. As long as you're making sufficient progress on your wedding outfit, we are not going to stop you for the other things.
Yes, and as I mentioned before, I'm taking a good chunk of time off for the wedding, and so I do have a good couple days in between when we leave and the wedding ends where everything's going to be done and I'm off. So maybe I might need to. I'm just starting to think about at least if I have a plan and maybe they're already cut out, I can use that kind of time to unwind. And so it's creeping in there. It's, just I'm starting to plan.
You could also consider spending that time with your new husband. Just saying.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I'll have a husband. Maybe I'll make him something. Maybe that'll help too.
I mean, I would totally sew after a wedding because I feel like it's no matter how much you plan, it's going to be chaotic and lovely and overwhelming. And maybe just to have some moments to get into the vacation zone, sewing might be a good way to do it. I'm pro.
Yeah, and I might want to just make one. I think I'm thinking of one ultimate travel jumpsuit or something.
Ultimate travel jumpsuit. Yeah. Okay, well.
I have the idea actually that, we talked about in our swimwear episode, the 30-minute Berta bathing suit that has the the tying.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I just attach that to pants. So it's like a jumpsuit multi-tie situation.
Ooh, intriguing.
How about that?
Love it.
Intriguing.
Yeah, so that's my SewJo.
Awesome. How about you, Amanda?
Well, I am going to be a little bit promotional right now. Sorry, guys. But I am honestly super duper excited about our new capsule studio release. It's a collection of 6 patterns. The first one is called Well Traveled. So there you go, Meg. There are 6 pieces that kind of mix and match, but are also meant to be really great wardrobe basics that you can hack and customize and do all kinds of fun things with. It came out just a little bit earlier this month, and I have my first pattern in it, and Meg has a pattern in it.
Yay.
And I am just really proud of it. So it's really inspiring me. I think I'm going to sew at least a few of the pieces this fall.
It's really awesome, and I think it was a great project.
Yeah, super fun.
Definitely.
What about you, Kate?
Oh, okay. We are too
Let's
near
hear
the
it.
end. We are too near the end of summer for me. I love summer, and I need to get to work on my Delphi dress because I still haven't done it. I've got my fabric. I just need to get working on this dress. So this is my next goal: is Delphi dress.
We can set up some interim deadlines if you need.
Okay. Yes, we can definitely
at
do
that.
that. And then one of you can take a picture of me so I can remember to put it on Instagram.
I will make this happen.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So just a reminder, while we're in the middle of our transition period and our move here at the office, we are doing our Sew and Tell question on Instagram Live on our off week. So we're going to ask you a question this week, and then hopefully you will tune in on August 29th to hear some of the answers that people have sent us. And hopefully you'll send us an answer too. So our question this week is, what's your favorite thing about your sewing community? So let us know what you like. Give us some hints about some places we could go, some places other people could go, and physical, online, whatever whatever floats your boat. Tell us about it. So hop over to our Instagram and tell us about it. That's at Sew and Tell Pod is our handle. And then come check us out on August 29th. All right.
Until then,
everybody.
That was a good episode.
That was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep sewing. Keep having fun. Keep being part of your community.
Happy stitching.
Yes.
Happy stitching. Sew and Tell is produced by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zaynard. Our consulting producer is Ron Doyle, and our executive producer is Jared Mayer.